Right, we're asked to find two integers, and I'm going to let them be x and y. I'm just going to move my slide over a little bit here. See the whole solution. So we've got two variables, x and y, and we know that the first integer plus 4 times the second integer is equal to 1,000. We also are asked to minimize the product of these two. So here is an expression for the product, x times y. We've got too many variables here, so I'm going to replace one of them. And I'm going to use the equation here above to do it. Now the problem is, you can do this the easy way or the hard way, and if you take a look at that x plus 4y, which one of those variables is the easiest to isolate? And I hope you would agree that it's the x that's easiest to isolate, because that way we're not going to have fractions. So I am going to write x is equal to 1,000 minus 4y, and then plug that in to this x, which gives me this equation here. The other way you would have had fractions, not impossible, but a bit messier. I'm going to multiply the y into the bracket to give me this expression so that I can avoid the product rule. Now I can take the derivative with respect to y, and it's straight up power rule, so it's 1,000 minus 8y. I look for where I am going to find the critical points, and the critical points happen when y is equal to 0 or y does not exist. Since there is no fraction, there is no place where the derivative doesn't exist, which means that the only critical point is when the derivative is 0, and solving for y, I get 125. I'm going to use the first derivative test here. So in other words, I'm putting the 125 on the number line and seeing what happens to this expression. On the left of 125, it's positive, and on the right, it's negative. It's also important to know that the domain, the smallest y value is going to be 0, because it asks you for an integer that's bigger than 0. So we know that the outer limit is 0, and the other side is 250, because 4 times 250 is 1,000, and you can't go beyond that. Since it's an area of positive here, increasing, decreasing, I can tell that this is a max. So the max happens when y is 125. I plug 125 into this equation here to get a perimeter of 62,500 units squared, and x, if you want to find both the second integer, then I know the relationship between x and y is given here. So plugging in 125, I get 500.